A controversial policy that Arise News has reported on is making headlines today. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio has announced that the city will settle a legal battle over its controversial police stop and frisk policy. This settlement would institute reforms that were ordered by a judge last August. The judge ruled that the police applied the tactic unconstitutionally because they rely on racial profiling in deciding whom to stop. Now, reforming the city's stop and frisk policy was a key promise during the new mayor's campaign. Candis Tolliver is a senior organizer with the NY Civil Liberties Union, which handled one of the lawsuits, and Tom Ruskin is a former New York City police detective and president of CMP Protective and Investigative Group. We want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight on Arise America. First of all, Candis, let me start with you. What do you think of this whole decision to drop the appeal?
Well, I believe this decision is a good step in the right direction towards closing the gap on what we call a tale of two cities, where people are treated differently because of what they look like or where they live, and it's an important first step in that direction.
And Candis, I know, Tom, you have been, inside the force, if you will, and sort of, have a little bit of a different opinion, I think, perhaps, on what the new mayor, I should say, is trying to do here. Tell us, what do you think of the proposed, way that de Blasio is going about this?
Well, I think first off, there has to be reforms to stop question and frisk. It's obvious from the court case, as well as other things, that abuses may have taken place, and that the policy that was originally set up was not being used properly by police. But with that said, the last thing that the police would want is a federal monitor monitoring police activities. The police commissioner, the new mayor, are totally capable of handling how a policy is now run out and rolled out to police officers and training the officers properly in how to use it. We both know that there are very high crime areas in the city, and people of those areas most of the time want the police to come in and use any methods possible to clean up their areas. The question is, you have to have policies that adhere to the Constitution and that don't violate people's rights.
Well, I think the main piece of what you said that's incorrect is that people don't want any means necessary, right? We all want to live in communities that are safe, and we want to feel protected, but we don't want the cops to harass us.
Right.
We want to feel like we're treated like everybody else, and we don't want to feel like when we walk out our door, just because we live in Brownsville or Bed-Stuy, we're going to be stopped just because we're young and we're black. That's not okay.
Well, except when I worked for the police commissioner and when I did go to these town hall meetings, the residents of those communities wanted the police to take very aggressive action in cleaning up crime. And whereas we had a stop, question, and frisk, and it needed reform, I don't believe that the way to do it is have a federal judge exercise that.
Yeah, you don't want somebody outside looking in. You want the police to police themselves. I hear you on that, Tom. Well, they do have until February 7th to file objections. The police department does, and they very well may do that. But obviously, you're saying that this is really something that the community at large doesn't want to stand for, and they want to make sure that people are treated fairly.
Absolutely, and you have to think about the fact that this lawsuit, Floyd versus the City of New York, comes from 15 years ago. The original lawsuit was Daniels versus the City of New York. Obviously, the police cannot police themselves. And so having this monitor to come in and look at practices and say, this is how you implement a program that can keep us all safe, but respect the Constitution of the United States is what we need, right? And I think it's really important that, when the mayor made his announcement, you see Commissioner Bratton standing there saying that, no, reforms need to be made, and as long as we can make them together with input from communities and we could talk about what's effective, then we can move in the right direction.
Tom, the last word?
The last word is I agree with Candis. You don't want to violate the Constitution. You want to respect the people's rights. That's what the police are here for. The police are sworn to protect the rights of the people that they patrol. Yet you have to allow the police to take policing to another level to stop crime and stop crime from going up to where it was 15 years ago.
I don't think anybody wants that. All right. Tom Ruskin, Candis Tolliver, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for your time. Clearly, we'll continue to monitor this issue and bring it to the viewers here on Arise America.